What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another weekly update. So there's lots of crazy news stories to go over here this week, but first I want to briefly mention, yes, I did put the camera straight on this time instead of at an angle. A few viewers suggested that here in the past couple weekly updates with this new setup to try that. So let me know if you like this new angle or if you like the previous angle in the comments below. Yeah, we'll see which one you guys prefer more. But I think this kind of looks kind of cool and a nice little change. So let me know. But anyway, as far as the news stories this week, lots of big crazy stories. The first one here, though, as you can see from the title, is that Audi's CEO this week revealed to a German industry publication, which I won't even try and pronounce. I will put the name of it below there. But they said that in that interview that they will not be developing any new gas engines at Audi. So he's quoted as saying, "We will no longer develop a new internal combustion engine, but will adapt our existing internal combustion engines to new emission guidelines." So the guidelines that he's referencing here are the Euro 7 standards that Europe is going to be enacting here, and those will be going into effect in 2025. And so he explains that the EU plans for an even stricter Euro 7 emissions standard are a huge technical challenge and at the same time have little benefit for the environment. That extremely restricts the combustion engine. So clearly he doesn't like all the stuff that they're doing with the Euro standards as well. But so they've evaluated this, from a company standpoint and decided that they just can't justify the cost. And so this doesn't mean they're going to stop selling gas-powered Audis anytime soon, or that there's any certain date like other car companies are saying, well, by this date, we'll be done with gas stuff. Audi isn't committing to anything like that just yet. But what this is saying is, they're going to be diverting the development money away from new gas engines because they're just going to quit spending money on that and instead put that money into developing new EV powertrains and stuff. And so that's kind of what they'll be doing. And they are planning on doing a lot of new electric vehicles. They're introducing 20 they're going to have available here by 2025. So rolling them out a lot. We just saw the Q4 e-tron teased a couple of weeks ago here. There's a Q6 e-tron they just admitted is in the works, and that will be sharing a platform with the Porsche Macan, but it will be much different from the new Porsche Macan, which is also going fully electric for its new version and stuff. So lots of EV stuff coming, and so sounds like there will be no new Audi engines. So hopefully you like whatever they have on offer now. There is a lot of awesome Audi engines currently, so even if they keep those around for the next 10 years, I think most people probably won't complain too much because they're awesome engines. But anyway, crazy to hear that from Audi. BMW this week, speaking of electric stuff, they revealed the production version of the BMW i4 Gran Coupe, which will be a 2022 model that's going to be arriving in early 2022 alongside the iX SUV, which was previously revealed last year. And there will be several different models that weren't fully detailed yet, but the top trim will offer 530 horsepower and about 300 miles of range on the EPA test. It'll do 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds, and there will even be an M Performance variant that'll take it even further than that eventually, but there's no pricing for those yet. But along with this news, BMW also revealed more of their plans for electric vehicles. They're targeting well over 50% of their global sales will be electric by 2025, and that they'll have 25 electric vehicles on sale by 2023. So they're even going to be faster than Audi with their rollout, and a few of these will be an electric 5 Series, an electric 7 Series, and an electric BMW X1, which will most likely be all the new next generation versions of those models. And lastly, they also said that Mini will be introducing its final gas-powered vehicle in 2025 and will be fully electric as an entire brand at Mini by 2030. And so that's Mini, but don't be too worried about BMW because they're not going all electric or committing to killing off gas engines yet. Their CEO just this week, in response actually to the Audi CEO and what they said, BMW CEO said that they have no plans to stop developing internal combustion engines. So gas engine is safe at BMW for the time being. They're going to keep developing new ones. We'll see how much longer that lasts. There was talks with other car companies of, maybe having 1 or 2 more new engines and then phasing stuff out. We'll have to wait and see, but interesting nonetheless. Pagani this week, they're keeping the gas engine alive here, and they actually just developed a new one in cooperation with HWA, which is a Mercedes-AMG subsidiary. I think it's like their racing subsidiary. And so it's for this Huayra R, which was just revealed this week, and it's pretty awesome. Unfortunately, this version of the Huayra isn't street legal, but again, still super awesome nonetheless. It gets rid of the twin turbo V12 that the regular Huayra uses and instead runs a naturally aspirated aspirated 6-liter V12 that makes 850 horsepower still and 553 pound-feet of torque. It has a glorious 9,000 RPM redline. It screams through an Inconel exhaust that has mufflers that can be easily removed if you're at the track, at a track that doesn't have any kind of noise restrictions, that is, because a lot of tracks still do, which is why you can have those mufflers on or off depending on your needs. The transmission is a 6-speed sequential racing transmission, also made by HWA, and the chassis and the body have both been lightened by so much that the dry weight for this car is only 2,314 pounds, which is a loss over the standard street legal Huayra of 662 pounds. That is a massive drop. You know, usually with these lightweight versions of other supercars, it's like, oh, we've removed 50 pounds or 100 pounds, and it's like tiny little things, but this is enormous. I mean, that is a ton of weight that's being dropped in. Also, that dry weight puts it roughly around the same weight as a Miata. A Miata's curb weight is about like 70 pounds heavier or so than the dry weight here of this. So dry weight Miata, probably still a little bit lighter, but I mean, we're talking, it's basically Miata weight with 850 horsepower from a naturally aspirated V12. Man, I wish I was rich. That sounds like a phenomenal time. And so anyway, it also has other impressive hardware, like there's active dampers to constantly improve balance, and it has the most impressive brakes Brembo has ever made that are self-ventilating and are, you know, massive and all that. It also has huge wings and diffusers for up to 2,204 pounds of downforce at 199 miles per hour, they say. Pagani is also going to be hosting these Art in Pista days all over the world for the lucky owners to exercise their cars with Pagani's assistance and racing team and stuff. And only 30 of these will be built, and they'll be costing $3.1 million each. So yes, awesome stuff there, and so cool to see that. And some other electric news, getting back to the electric stuff and the more earthly stuff here for us that are mere mortals. Kia has revealed a few images here of their EV6, which is their new little electric crossover here that's going to be fully revealed on March 30th. And it looks pretty cool, especially in the back, but it's certainly more conventional with its styling than the Ioniq 5 that it shares a platform with, which is very boxy and retro and looks like a 4-door DeLorean almost. And this isn't quite as cool in my opinion, but still, you know, I'm sure it'll be a little bit more of a mainstream, widely accepted kind of design and stuff, and looks very nice still. The interior is also very cool, but also more traditional than the Ioniq. There's no details yet on the powertrain for this EV6, but the spec should be pretty similar to the Ioniq 5, if not identical, since they're basically using all the same stuff underneath the skin. But anyway, yeah, we'll wait for more details here in a couple of weeks on that. Kia has also finally revealed the U.S. details here for the 2022 Stinger. And there isn't anything new here that we didn't know if you've already been following the Stinger story over the past several months since they've revealed this new styling for the Korean market. But to go over it briefly for those of you that weren't following it, the 2-liter turbo model is gone now, and the GT line is the new base trim. That gets a 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder from the other Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis models. It does 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque, and it'll do 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds, which is a really nice improvement over the 2.0 motor previously. I mean, I like the 2.0T version of the Stinger. I reviewed it and thought it was a great alternative to a WRX and stuff like that. But now with this motor, this is like an STI alternative, and very, very impressive. And that larger engine, extra power, also come at no cost in fuel economy, amazingly. It actually gets the same MPG ratings for the all-wheel drive version, and you actually get 3 better MPG on the highway for the rear-wheel drive version over the old 4-cylinder, which was, again, half a liter smaller and, you know, about 50 less horsepower. So bravo to the Kia engineers that, you know, this amazing engine, which I've already enjoyed in the K5 GT, the Genesis GV80. I love that engine. Putting it in the Stinger is going to be amazing. I can't wait to try out that combo here, hopefully sometime this summer. It also does get new headlights with 4 little lines in it, and LEDs are now standard. The GTs stick with the same headlights from before, but both models get a new full-width taillight bar in the back and more aggressive exhaust tips. The GTs get a new active sport exhaust, which helps to bump the power on the existing 3.3T engine to 368 horsepower, which is only 3 more than before, so a much milder bump there for the GT than the GT line version, but still a nice improvement nonetheless. And both models also get the new Kia logo, and that's something that was revealed several weeks ago and so great to see it here. There's also new wheel designs and this awesome new ascot green color, which any of you who know me, I'm a sucker for dark green vehicles. That color has my name written all over it. That's awesome. They're introducing more color here in the Stinger lineup. All the other Stinger colors do remain as well. Inside, they get some nicer trim pieces, new patterns for the leather seats, standard 10.25-inch touchscreen, which is a nice improvement over the 7 and 8-inch touchscreens you previously had on Stingers. You also get some multicolored ambient lighting now. The lower trims also get a larger 4.2-inch color display in the middle of the gauges. Previously, I believe it was like pretty monochrome, so that's nice to have. But even on the top Stingers, there's still no digital gauges, sadly. The biggest you can get is an 8-inch screen in the middle of the gauges that are still analog. But yeah, not sure why they're withholding digital gauges when this is like the top flagship model within Kia. But anyway, the top GT2 trim does get an available surround view monitor now and a signature blind spot view monitor, similar to what you get in other Kia, Hyundai, and Genesis models again, where it will display a view of your blind spot in the gauge cluster when you put your turn signal on. And later this spring, a Scorpion Special Edition will be arriving that gets this rear spoiler. There's blacked out trim, unique black wheels, and carbon fiber interior trim. It's only going to be available in white, black, and ceramic silver colors, and there's no pricing for those yet or any other details. I'm guessing it's just an appearance thing, but it'd be nice if there was some other stuff as well, but we'll have to wait and see. But the regular GT lines will be starting at $37,135, including destination, and max out around $42,000. And the GT trim for the first version of the V6 is now gone. So the lowest V6 version you can get now is a GT1. So there's just GT1 and GT2 now. Previously, there was a stripped-down GT model, but like I said, GT1 is the new entry here, starting at $44,735, including destination, and maxing out around $54,500 for a fully loaded GT2. And GTs are on dealer lots now, actually. They've been around for several weeks, which is kind of bizarre that this was put out so late, because dealers were like, yeah, this car's already been sitting in the showroom for weeks, and Kia's like, ta-da, it's a new thing, and it's, it's kind of interesting that that's, the way they played that. But regardless, GTs are already there, so you can go check them out in your dealers right now. And if you are interested in one of the 4-cylinders, those should be arriving relatively soon. So yeah, that's the one I think I'm most interested in, is that 4-cylinder, although the new exhaust in the 6-cylinder could be pretty sweet as well. Mercedes this week has revealed some official info here about the 2022 Mercedes-AMG SL that's coming. And then an anonymous source also gave me more details as well on this that Mercedes hasn't disclosed yet. But first, for the official stuff, the new SL will be only an AMG model. There's no regular Mercedes-Benz model. It's just Mercedes-AMG versions. It will be a 2+2 setup and will be arriving later this year and will be offering 4MATIC plus all-wheel drive. Unofficially, though, my anonymous source here claims it will actually be all-wheel drive only. There will not be a rear-wheel drive version, and that it will be replacing the AMG GT Roadster in the lineup as far as where it's going to be positioned. So again, this is unofficial stuff, but I think it's a pretty credible source. And so they also say that the AMG GT 2-door will continue as a coupe going forward, but it will be getting a new generation, but that will be actually based on the same platform as this new SL. So basically, and I was kind of wondering about this whenever I was hearing about this new SL. I was like, where is this going to fit into the lineup? Now it fits perfectly. You get rid of the AMG GT convertible, pop in the SL, still have the AMG GT coupe, which is more hard-edged anyway with those GTs, and so that totally makes sense. If you're going for a convertible, you probably want the softer, SL anyway. So this makes a lot of sense, and I'm inclined to believe this is all very accurate. But anyway, the source also claims that there will be 2 versions here for the SL. One will be an SL53 model that supposedly is going to be using a detuned version of that 4-cylinder hybrid setup that the new C63 is getting, which a lot of people are upset about that. We're going to be using basically like the CLA 45's 4-cylinder with like 400 odd horsepower on its own, plus electric boost and stuff to put well over 500 horsepower in the C63. They're saying this will get a detuned version of that, so maybe we'll be in the high 400s for horsepower or something, and you'll have a 4-cylinder SL possibly. Again, still not confirmed, but that's what my source is saying here. They also say the top model will be using a V8 still, so V8 is safe in the SL. But my source wasn't sure if it'll take the form of a traditional 63 model or if it'll be the new 73 plug-in hybrid powertrain. But either way, it will be using a V8 in the top trim. There doesn't appear to be any charging ports here in these prototypes that were shown in the pictures the Mercedes released. So either they weren't shown in those pictures or the top model won't be a 73. So we'll have to wait and see on all that unofficial stuff, but it all seems pretty likely to me. Seems to make a lot of sense. Yeah, but very interesting to hear all that. And that new SL looks pretty cool from what we can see with the camo on it there. I'm excited for that vehicle to arrive. Speaking of plug-in Mercedes, though, my source also had a few other tidbits of info here to anonymously submit. So they claimed that the plug-in hybrid twin-turbo V8 setup that's branded as that 73 trim, that we saw a teaser of that on the four-door GT that Mercedes officially teased. It's going to be e-performance for the branding. They teased that a couple of weeks ago, so we do know it's already coming for the four-door GT. That's been confirmed officially. But my source also claims it'll also be that powertrain will be arriving for the S-Class, the E-Class, and like I mentioned earlier, possibly the SL as well. So interesting that, those will be getting it. I mean, I kind of figured at least the S-Class would, but it's sweet that the E-Class will be getting it as well, most likely, because that'll be a pretty wild E-Class to have that. So anyway, regarding the fully electric EQS, my source also claimed that it'll be doing over 300 miles of EPA range, and we'll be getting a full reveal in August, supposedly. And it'll initially be offered in 3 models, badged as a 450 model for the base rear-wheel drive version. An all-wheel drive version will be badged as the EQS 580. And then they also claim an AMG 53 model will be debuting. I'm guessing that'll just have even more power. But it's interesting they say it'll be a 53 trim and won't be something higher than that. I'm sure down the road they will have higher trims. Maybe this is just at launch. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, so don't have any other specifics about the EQS. It's been teased out for a while now, and it sounds like we'll have many more teasers if the full reveal won't be till August. But interesting to get all that info from them. For some other official stuff here, Subaru this week has announced that something wild is coming. But don't get too excited. We're not talking about the WRX here. Sadly, I wish we were. But anyway, they explain that later this month, the next evolution of Subaru capability is coming, and it is packed with functional technology and rugged features inside and out. And they just have this image of the wilderness. And so what this is that they're talking about is the wilderness editions that leaked last year on a production timeline. So we kind of already know about this. They were also spied already. So according to the leaked image, this wilderness trim will be coming for both the Forester and the Outback at roughly probably at that same time here. So we'll probably be getting that this month. So from the spy shots, it appears like it's going to get more rugged bumpers along with some new fog lights and grille designs that'll be unique and a higher ride height, probably some unique wheels and stuff as well. But that's what the wild thing is that's coming here soon from Subaru. The WRX still isn't scheduled to enter production until this fall, according to that leaked timeline once again. So if it's a fall production, I mean, they could reveal at any time now, really. And there were some spy shots just this past week taken of the new WRX, and they don't show anything we haven't really seen before, and I just don't have the rights to show those pictures, but I will link them in the description below if you want to check them out for yourself. But it's going to be some interesting changes there. It's a much slimmer front end, and it's a lower hood and stuff than previous WRXs, a little less boxy, but should be some nice changes there. But anyway, interesting to hear about that wilderness trim. Toyota this week has teased their electric SUV that they'll be revealing at the Shanghai Auto Show in about a month. It'll be a concept, but will be close to production. And so they've previously said it'll be about the size of a RAV4. And Subaru will also be getting a version of this SUV since they're working on it together. We don't know when we'll see the Subaru version, but that leaked timeline, again, we keep going back to that, which seems to be accurate so far. That's showing that the Subaru version of this electric crossover will start production in the spring of 2022. So, if we're seeing something close to production as a show vehicle here, in about a month, maybe we'll see a final reveal, maybe like LA Auto Show in the fall if that actually happens this year. And then, they'll start production in the spring. So interesting to see that. Toyota has also fully revealed another concept this week. This is the Aygo X Prologue. And so it previews a new city car for the European market. And according to Autocar, it'll be sticking with gas engines and not be going to any kind of hybrid or electric powertrain like all the main competitors in the city car segment have been doing. And so Autocar explains that while many of these other city cars are going to that whole hybrid and EV thing, it's mostly in an effort to bring up their fleet-wide emission averages, since they do sell a decent amount of these city cars, and those regulations and fines are getting more costly there. And like I mentioned with the first story with Audi this week, those fines are getting really, really large as we get into the 2020s here. So that's why these other companies are doing that. But since Toyota sells so many hybrids across their range, especially in Europe, their fleet average is good enough to actually allow them to sell a regular gas version in Europe of a city car, and therefore kind of undercut the more expensive electric competitors, and they can really not hurt their fleet average very much by doing that. So Toyota hasn't said whether they'll bring it to the States or not, but we don't get small stuff like this. It doesn't sell. Fiat tried with the 500, that failed, and now that's gone, and many others have tried. Even Toyota with the Scion IQ about 10 years ago or so tried with that, didn't go anywhere. So I don't think they're going to try again, even though this one is a little more crossover like with the flared fenders and the higher ride height and stuff, at least on this concept. But I still don't think that people would go for this here in the States. They're saying the starting price will be around $18,000 equivalent, with the European. I think euros would be around 15,000. But anyway, we all know that Americans just want stuff that's bigger, more powerful, and that's basically the American way. So it's very unlikely that they'll bring this here to the States, but it's a cool little car nonetheless, and it's even going to be offered with a manual, they said. So that's pretty awesome. And anyway, another cool little vehicle that was revealed this week was the Alpha Wolf EV. That's Alpha, A-L-P-H-A. And so it's really cool. I love the retro look here on a truck that's actually finally a small truck for once. Even these compact trucks these days, like the Ford Maverick was just by this past week. I also can't show you those 5 pictures, but I'll link those below if you want to see them. But even the Maverick's like massive, and I'm like, do they not understand that some people actually want a real small truck, a truck that is truly small, even in America here? But anyway, I'm glad that Alpha gets the idea here. And so anyway, this thing is awesome. It's only a 2-seater. It's only 2 doors. It's fully electric with either a single motor or dual motor setups. So you can have either front wheel drive or all wheel drive. They say range will be between 250 and 275 miles, and it can tow up to 3,000 pounds still. It's on the same platform as the awesome Alpha Ace Coupe that they revealed a couple of months ago, which I really love. I think that thing is awesome. And now the Wolf here is about 2 feet longer, has a 5.5 foot bed, so it's pretty practical. 5.5 foot bed is what you get on most normal trucks, in their standard configuration. So you have a truck bed that's just as long as any huge, massive, bloated truck, and yet you have, this awesome smaller dimensions. It's pretty cool. And I also love, there's some cool touches. Like there's, in the bed there, you can actually have a solar panel tonneau cover, which is sweet. I also love the, lights there on the above the roof and stuff. If they had it in black, I think it would actually kind of be like a cool little throwback to like the Back to the Future, Toyota truck and stuff like that. But anyway, it's pretty sweet. And this isn't just some like fantasy thing. This is actually going to be available to buy. They didn't really give any mechanical specs, but they say it'll do 0 to 60 in 6 seconds. So it should be quick enough. And for that power and that, all that, it's going to be priced at only $36,000 to start and go up to $46,000 with a bunch of options and stuff. But still, maxed out at $46,000 is very reasonable. I know it's pretty small and simple, but it still has, a nice luxurious interior, lots of good tech. It appears you can make a reservation now, but Alpha won't begin deliveries until 2023, and there's still the question of dealership servicing, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully they can get all that ironed out here in the next 2 years. But that'll be a very refreshing alternative to all these other massive electric trucks that are coming from every new little tech startup out there is coming up with an electric truck. And I think that this is probably my favorite so far. So awesome to see that. Hyundai has fully revealed their Staria minivan this week, and so they haven't confirmed whether or not this is coming to the States, but I'd guess that it's unlikely since it doesn't appear to be just like a reskin version of the Kia Carnival like I originally thought it might be. This is a totally different van, it seems, and it's going to be a little bit bigger too because it's going to be available in several different versions, from a 2-seater cargo van configuration all the way up to an 11-seater version, along with a couple other versions in between, like a 7-seater premium model with seats that recline in relaxation mode, and a 9-seater premium model that even has seats that swivel to face the rear, which is pretty cool. There's no mechanical details yet, but it appears to even have a manual transmission on lower trims, which is the real signal that this is most likely not destined for America. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And yes, we should have more info in the coming few months here. And I really hope that, Hyundai gives the whole minivan segment another try, because there's not a whole lot of competition out there. There's basically just 4 minivans to pick from these days. And so adding a 5th one would be great. So yeah, interesting to see that. And lastly, Car and Driver this week actually discovered this new engine that was listed for the 2021 Rogue and the EPA's fuel economy website. And I don't know, it's like a random thing. I guess someone bothered to check it and they're like, hey, there's a new engine here. It's a 1.5 liter turbo 3-cylinder, which is a new engine we haven't heard from Nissan at all. This is completely out of left field, totally unexpected. And anyway, so it's a turbo 3-cylinder that runs through a CVT. There aren't any other specifics as far as power output or anything like that, aside from that fuel economy, since it was on that fuel economy site. So that fuel economy is 30 mpg in the city, 37 on the highway, and 33 combined. And so that comes down to about 1 mpg if you go for the higher all-wheel drive trims and stuff. But this makes it a few mpg better than basically all the other competitors in the compact SUV segment here. So it could be really good, but again, you have to keep in mind we're talking about the non-hybrid SUVs in this segment. You go up to the hybrid stuff from Toyota, Ford, and all that, and even Honda, you get into the 40s with their fuel economy. So this is only for those who really don't want a hybrid but still really want good fuel economy. You go for this. Seems like an odd niche to me, but we'll see what it does for Nissan. But Nissan strangely still isn't really saying anything about this. They only told Car and Driver Nissan regularly evaluates potential future technologies on existing models. We are planning a small pilot program with a potential new powertrain utilizing the 2021 Nissan Rogue. We have nothing further to announce at this time. So I guess they're keeping it a secret. They don't have the details ready, I guess, to release or something. I don't know, but interesting there. But it's kind of strange that the fuel economy site has that info before Nissan is ready to share it. But interesting. We'll see if anyone is interested in that engine there. But always good to give people options. I'm a firm believer. Give people the options. Let them decide what they want to spend their money on. And interesting to see that. But yes, that's it for all the news this week, guys. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this weekly update. Let me know your thoughts and everything in the comments below. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please continue to stay safe and healthy. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.